There are advantages to knowing how the brain operates. The brain gives us options. We benefit from knowing our options. How we use our brain affects how we feel. For example, one hemisphere of the brain is energized by fear. Its way of helping us deal with threats and other challenges to our safety and peace of mind is to prompt us to separate. We also use separation when we run away from people and problems, and when we ignore the facts because they challenge ours. Our other hemisphere is energized by love. Love feeds our need for connection. To better understand the brain's operation, we can study the systems that manage the hemispheres. Each hemisphere is managed by an autonomous system. Each system gives us a unique viewpoint. One viewpoint is locally oriented. It analyzes things and shows us the details. The other is globally oriented. It synthesizes and shows us the big picture. Because each system has its own viewpoint, each system gives us a somewhat different view of the world and therefore supports somewhat different ideas, actions, and feelings. Notice that the systems that operate the hemispheres complement one another. They do completely different things, both in terms of their viewpoint and their response. Local or global, detailed or big picture, separation or connection, analyze or synthesize, fear or love. The two complementary systems feed consciousness a stereoscopic diet of information. But that doesn't mean their information feed is always balanced. In most of us, one system will be dominant and flood consciousness with its perceptions and thoughts. The other system will play a recessive role, serving as an agent or emissary for the dominant system. There are benefits to an arrangement in which one operating system manages the overall process of perception and thought, and the other is recessive. This design allows us to specialize. It helps us simplify a complex world. But it has limitations too. When mind is fed by a dominant system, the non-dominant system is unconscious. Its viewpoint, values, and insights are unconscious, at least until they come up during the events of life. Our experience of consciousness begins with our genetics. The systems that manage the hemispheres are genetically determined. In most of us, mind is fed by one operating system or the other. But in some people, the systems are genetically integrated. Integration can take two forms. Left and right brain operating systems can function as a team, or they can combine to form a hybrid system. Furthermore, we use one of the four operating systems twice as we process information. This means we can inherit any one of 16 brain operating systems. In this video, we are going to look at left brain, right brain, team, and hybrid operating systems and explore the science behind them. My next video considers how the brain achieves 16 operating systems. To understand the brain's effect on our mind and thinking, we need to understand how genetic dominance works. Whether we consider a design variable such as blood type, human or plant height, or the color of flowers, hair, or eyes, knowledge of genetic dominance can help us better understand our world. There are three types of genetic dominance, each named for its effect, which can be complete, incomplete, or cooperative. To explain how genetic dominance works, I'm going to explain how it affects the colors and patterns we see in flowers. When we cross a red flower and a white flower, under complete dominance, we get flowers that are completely red and or completely white. Under incomplete dominance, the dominance of one color over the other is incomplete. So, with incomplete dominance, we obtain a combination of red and white, a shade of pink. Under codominance, the two variables work cooperatively to form a team. When red and white cooperate, we get completely red areas and completely white areas, such as we see in striped and speckled blossoms. Let's now consider how the three systems of genetic dominance affect consciousness and shape our thinking and behavior. I've said that consciousness is fed in one of four ways. So, how do three types of genetic dominance produce four systems to feed consciousness? One of them, complete dominance, produces two systems. Consciousness is fed by either our local hemisphere or our global hemisphere. Complete dominance recesses one half of a binary system. This allows the other half to creatively express itself at will without interference. When dominance completely recesses the contribution of one of our hemispheres, it creates an inherent bias in our thinking. Plus, since the viewpoints and values of the two systems are radically different, the thoughts they inspire will sometimes clash. And when they do, chances are we will believe the familiar thoughts of our dominant system and view the contradictory thoughts of our recessive system as flawed, and ignore or fight them. We can see the consequences of complete dominance in the behavior of polarized individuals who advocate either a strictly conservative or strictly liberal approach and fail to recognize that the two systems need to work together in order for either one to function correctly. Having considered what happens to perception and thought when the two sides of the brain operate separately under complete dominance, now consider what happens when they work together under incomplete dominance and codominance. When incomplete dominance is in control, consciousness is fed by a hybrid system made up of the two sides of the brain operating as a single unit. This gives us a hybrid viewpoint and hybrid responses. It's the pattern that combines red and white to produce pink. In contrast, when codominance unifies the two sides of the brain, they continue to function independently. They work cooperatively as relative equals. Codominance produces the viewpoints and responses of a team system, which in flowers, remember, creates striped and speckled blossoms. Incomplete dominance and codominance produce a type of whole brain thinking. Because hybrid and team systems combine the operation of the hemispheres in a variety of ways, they generate a wide range of insights, responses, and emotions. One consequence of this is the fluidity we see in gender. I made these discoveries about the effects of dominance on the brain's operation and human behavior while conducting research for my second book, How Whole Brain Thinking Could Save the Future. Keep in mind that genetic dominance creates defaults. Default ways of viewing and responding create a base of operation. They give us a sense of identity. Defaults predispose us to certain insights and behaviors, but some defaults can be overridden, at least temporarily, so even if one of your operating systems is dominant, you are still free to consult your non-dominant system at any time, which you do by consulting its viewpoint. To heal the damaging divisions in our cultures and move us toward the personal and planetary peace that we seek, we must bring an end to destructive polarizations. Understanding the brain's role in our polarization is a crucial part of this process. To learn more about the hemispheric forces that polarize our thinking, watch my video, How to Achieve Whole Brain Thinking.